There we go. And admit and admit. Hi, everybody. Uh, Diane here, and welcome to Continental Confidential Live. And this is number 21 with special guest Tomar Williams. Hi, Tomar.
How you doing, Diane?
I'm doing good. Really
Queen
happy
of-
to see you.
it's good to see you too. I mean that.
And
It really
Tomar is with Tomar and the FCs, and they have been staples of the calendar for the Continental Club and Sea Boys Heart and Soul for a few years now. And we have been so blessed to have them with us. Uh,
I'm blessed to be with you guys as well.
oh, thank you. It certainly is nice to see you, and look at you with facial hair. Very nice, I might add.
Oh, well, thank you, Diane. I don't know. It came out of nowhere. I don't know. Maybe that Rogaine kind of got out of hand for a little bit. They said you got to wash the stuff off your fingers, so if you touching your face, hair just grow out anywhere. So this is probably the after effect. You know what I'm saying? The effect of the Rogaine touching your own
Maybe
face.
next time I'll have you run your hands through my.
Oh my God.
Well, I do want to kick this off by, you know, I happen to know quite a bit about your background, but not everyone does. And I would kind of like to start there with my first question being,
Mhm.
what was your first gig?
My very first gig, it was this place called the Knights of Columbus, and it was in 1980. Down the street in San Marcos, Texas, I was with my brothers, Ashak, Salih, Kareem, and my dad was playing sax, and Isaac Williams. And my sister was actually she was going to college in San Marcos. It was called Southwest Texas State University, but now Texas State. Well, she was the president of her sorority, and they were having a fashion show, and they needed some entertainment. And she hooked us up with our very first gig. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was a gig show, but we were for the entertainment, and it was a beautiful time.
And how old were you?
I was 11 years old. I'm 11 years old. Yeah, 11. And I was playing bass guitar. I was playing bass and singing lead at the time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I know that you have quite a long history with the family band.
Oh yeah, pretty long history. And we get together and we jam every once in a while, still to this day. So.
I know we had a birthday celebration for your dad a few years ago, and pretty much the whole family showed up for it. And Isaac, your dad, ended up on stage. And
when does he not end up on stage, Diane? Oh, Mom, it drives my mom crazy. She be like, "Get your behind. Those boys don't want you on the damn stage." He said, "Leave me alone." But no, that was a magical night at the Continental Club, because the reason of being, his twin sister flew in from South Carolina, and his older sister was there, and she plays guitar and sings when she was younger. And but that was the first time they got a chance to celebrate their birthdays since they were kids.
wow.
Yeah, together at the Continental Club.
I didn't know that. That's very nice.
Beautiful, beautiful night. It was an amazing night.
And
Magical
actually, y'all had kind of a history with the Continental Club, as a matter of fact. The
Yeah.
band had played there previously.
Yeah, we played back, and we would hit the stage. I think we hit the stage back in 1986 or 87. I would say around by 19 with the family band. We were called 6 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And we were doing a huge fundraiser at the Continental Club. And it's weird because I recall being so nervous, because I was probably about 15 years old at the time. And and it was packed. It was a packed house. It was a daytime show. And so we got a chance to hit the stage and open up for a few pretty awesome, big known acts back then, you know, like Omar and the Howlers of that nature. It was a lot of names like that, you know. And so we were just honored to be just on the stage at a legend. And it was legendary. It was legendary back then. So imagine where it's at today. So, yeah.
And in 86 through the first half of 87, that actually would have been when Mark Pratt's and Jeanette Ward had it, and they were using it as a feeder club for Liberty Lunch. And then Steve took it over in the summer of 87, but he closed it until New Year's Eve. And then reopened New Year's Eve of 1987.
That's right. That's right. And because before we played the Continental Club, we were always at Liberty Lunch. I mean, always. I mean, this guy named Dino Lee. I'm not sure. You remember Dino Lee with the big hair? Oh my God, that guy was a character, man. and we were opening up a lot of shows. The first time we played there, we opened up for Bad Mother Goose. Yeah, and the Bad Mother Goose, they took a chance on us, and I'm not lying, Dianne. That was like crazy because we lived in this house in San Marcos, and we had like a garage. We rehearsed, and we worked on everything, not just the music, but also the dance steps, the moves, and the breaks, and so when we hit the stage at Liberty Lunch, oh my God, we we were ready. They were looking at us like, what the hell? Where the hell these little kids come from? But we were so ready, man. We probably want the best. We want the best musicians, but you could drop a pin between our breaks and stops and stuff. So we were tight in that respect, you know. Yeah.
Well, I still love seeing you guys all together whenever that happens, which isn't all that often, but it's sure a treat to see y'all together.
It's a treat to be with my brothers. Every time we share the stage, it's an amazing treat. And I want to say happy born day to you.
Thank you.
I mean that. Happy born day to the Queen.
I had big plans for this year. This was going to be my big birthday bash for 70. So I was going to have you guys, and I was going to have Sully do his Black Water thing, and I had planned on having Latasha, and I wanted Cherie to do her own set.
Oh,
you know, I had this all planned out in my head. It was going to be a blast.
Oh, and they would have done it.
We'll just do it.
Latasha would have done it. Sully would have done it. I would have done it. Cherie would have done it. We all would have done it. You know that.
Well, we would have had a big time, and so we'll just do it when we can.
We will. We will when time permits. When time permits, Dianne. It's a blessing.
So now you and Kareem, and I think Ashak was in on that too, that you did the and Slee on the production company. And you're still part of that whole thing too?
Yes, it's called Carnival Beats Production. And now we actually broaden it out to where it's Carnival Beats Soul. And so we're not really off into producing a lot of hip hop like we were back in the day. We were doing a lot of hip hop, solely hip hop at one point. And
mostly Houston acts, weren't they?
Yeah, a lot of the Houston acts. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on and on down. We had some great success, and we owe those guys great, gratitude for inviting us into their musical world and letting us be a part of that. And we were honored to be, a part of the rise of the Texas music scene that not just went nationwide, but went international wide. And we were blessed.
Yes, indeed. And, you guys were kind of on the ground floor of that, working with some artists before they were well known. And now certainly they have names now.
Now they got big names now, so, and we are talking about probably restarting up some of the hip hop stuff. Me and Salih and Ashak was hanging out the other night, this past weekend at Salih's cabin. And we were listening to some old stuff. A friend of ours came to Salih's house, and he was an artist on our label way back when we first started Carnival Beats back in 97, 98. And he brought all this music, and we hadn't heard this stuff in 15, damn near 20 years. Like, we were like, what the hell? And so it kind of got us all excited about, like, wow, man, we can still dip and dap in the hip hop thing, because our generation invented hip hop. So we can't give up on hip hop, so definitely we're going to go back to it, but we're going to just do what we did in the beginning, is do it our way, do what we hear. And rather than trying to chase these hits out there, we're just going to stay true to what Carnival do,
Uh-huh.
We'll see what happens. We may be the laughing stock. Who knows? Oh, man.
And so now, when you had the family band, did your sisters participate in that as well?
They sure did. What happened is that we had a name at one point. It was called the Sophisticated Gents. And so, but then my two sisters, Cynthia and Kadima, they were like, well, we want to come in and help sing. And my sister Cynthia was the first person that I heard and seen on the stage singing as a kid. And so she taught me how to sing. And so I was like, you know what? Hey, man, that's an honor. So my sisters came in. So we changed the name to Sophisticated Gents Plus 2. And and so we would play Steamboats, the Continental Club with them, Liberty Lunch. What was the other club? It's called the Cave Club.
Cave Club.
Off of Riverside. Yeah, that was really cool. The Cave Club was really cool. Alley Oops on 6th Street. Remember Alley Oops?
Yes.
6th Street Live, Alley Oops. Yeah, we did that back then in the day. Yeah, so they actually came in and sung with us.
And so now you have a slew of nieces and nephews that are all musicians as well.
Oh my God, it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful. I guess you don't realize how closely your nieces and your nephews and your offspring are watching you, but they were watching us big time, and they were taking notes. So now they're going to do it better than what we did, So that's a beautiful thing. So you got Nubia Iman, we got Amira Tai, and then Nasaya. She's coming up. In fact, I just seen her before I came to Austin, and she's working on her solo project right now, because I'm not sure. I'm gonna just announce it. Her and Glenn Peterson are dating.
Yeah.
So the Peterson brothers, when I first met them, all of a sudden they started calling me Uncle Tomar, because they felt like nephews to me. But now it might be official. You never know. we never knew how it was going to, but that might be official. So I love those guys to death. So yeah, we do have a lot of nieces and nephews that are just coming out. And even my daughters now. I have my little 12-year-old. She's amazing.
Wow.
Oh my, she is amazing. Yeah. I'm just kind of cultivating. I'm just sort of nurturing right now. But when she's only 12 years old right now, but when she breaks out, she's gonna be a force.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big fan of Amira's, and I've been following Nasaya and
Nubia.
And I saw that Kadima had just posted something on Facebook. It was just a couple of days ago that Nasaya was doing then. So I was really happy to see that she was actively working on something.
She approached me today, like about a couple of hours ago. I was like, Uncle Tomar, call me Uncle Yassien, really. Uncle Yassien, I have some music I want you to listen to, because I was supposed to go in and mix her music. I'm like, oh, baby, I'm about to run out, but you know what? Let's do it tomorrow. I'm all ears. We're gonna sit down and listen to what you got going on, because I'm so proud of them.
As you should be. Yes. Lovely, lovely kids that
they're amazing.
Has raised. I mean, just absolutely wonderful children.
They're amazing. And I raised my nieces, from Nubian on down. They're like my daughters rather than my nieces. All of them. That's how we are as uncles. All our children are like, that's their second dad. When they're in their presence, that's your dad. That's not your uncle, that's your dad, So that's how we all are.
And it's a big, and it's a big family that you've got too. Three brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah, it's 7 kids. My mom and dad had 7 kids, and then oh my God, it just goes and goes on and on and on. Jesus Christ! But you know what? It's nothing short of a great time when we all get down to the country and we hang out because we're all sort of moving, migrating to the country and putting tiny homes out there. Kadima has a tiny home and her
Uh-huh.
children. Salih has a cabin down there, and that guy has turned into Carpenter Joe. Man, that guy is building with his hands. I
Right.
mean, like he figures it out. He's building his home with his hands, and Ashek now just moved down there, put his place down there. So
Mhm.
we're all kind of migrating. I'm putting my stuff up down there as well, and so it's a great time just to go down there and not just, you know, how can I say, not just to get away, but also to reconnect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know Latasha used to put up several videos of Salih actually working on building the cabin. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, man, I used to love watching those.
Yes, and she is serious. Latasha is like, and she's amazing with the garden. She has a green
Yes.
thumb out of this world. I mean, amazing.
Uh-huh.
She can grow. She can grow fruits on concrete. I'm serious, man. I'm like,
Now, for those of you that are not aware, Latasha Lee of Latasha Lee and the Black Ties is actually Tomar's sister-in-law. She's
mhm.
married to Tomar's brother Salih, and that's in Latasha Lee is one of my favorite female artists.
Oh,
Bar, yeah,
she's electrifying.
yes.
Yeah, I had the great pleasure of uh, we got the band together back in 2012. I was the keyboard player and music director,
Hmm.
and basically we went on a tour. We started touring. I think the very first time we did a show outside of Austin was in Las Vegas, and we didn't know how it was going to go over, but we got there, and we were in the dressing room. I mean, they were showering us with so much love and everything, and then we did sound check, and then we got back to the room and came back to the show. It was at the Hard Rock Cafe at the Joint in Las Vegas. We got on the stage, the curtains were shut, and they gave this huge announcement, and the crowd just started screaming and hollering. We didn't see the crowd behind the curtains, and all of a sudden the curtains opened, and it was about 5,000 plus people.
Wow.
And I looked at Salih. Salih turned, he was on the guitar. He looked back at me. I'm like, man, what the heck is going on here? And he was like, oh, shoot. And then the very first note she sang, the entire audience sung the very first note all the way to the last song. They knew all her records. And that is when I was like, wow, man,
Yeah.
this is powerful. Music is powerful.
Boy, I
You know,
guess.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's one
So
of the things I think people, well, certainly within our circles, this is the one thing that people miss more than anything during this pandemic is live
yeah,
music. It has really affected people.
it really has.
Yeah.
You know, and some more than others. I mean, some people really thrive off and live for that instant gratification from the stage or just being on stage and just
Right.
releasing and projecting themselves in all sorts of kind of ways. And you're not able to do that.
Hmm.
Doing it in your living room with a camera in front of you is not the same.
Of course. Yeah.
It's not the same.
It can't possibly be. And,
No.
that's one of the reasons why this show isn't really a music show. It's not a performance show. It's an
Mm,
interview show,
that's awesome.
specifically because, we can't really, and because most of our acts, of course, are bands. And
Hmm.
so there's no way to really reproduce that thrill of the live performance.
Mm.
And but we want to have people still be in touch with the people that they ordinarily would be out in the club supporting.
Yeah.
And so this is a way for them to be in a position where they can feel connected to you, and it also keeps that feeling alive of, oh, as soon as this is over and the clubs are open, and first band I'm going to go see is Tomar and the FCs.
Mm-hmm. That would be great.
Oh, we want that.
and it's good that you're keeping people connected with the bands and the faces that they're normally used to seeing that are on stage.
Right.
We appreciate you for doing this, Dianne. We really do.
Oh gosh. Well,
It's well needed.
My pleasure, because nobody misses all of the musicians more than I do.
Oh my God.
You know, I mean, I'm just yeah, it's tough to not have that injection of vitality
Oh, I like that.
that
I
you
like that.
get from live music.
That means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That means a lot. It really does.
Yeah, and you know, I'm so fortunate that I'm in a position to hear the bands that I do, the caliber of musicians that I do.
Exactly.
And there's not a one of them that I don't miss. So, you know, we're all just waiting for the day when we can all be back together.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier before we went live, it's, to me, it looks like it could be 2022. I mean, I hate to
There's no
say
way
that.
to know. Yep.
I
We're
mean,
looking at fall at the bare minimum.
the bare minimum. Yeah,
Right.
that is so true.
And it looks like, you
Yeah.
know, the end of the year or the beginning of next year may be actually more realistic.
Yeah,
But
and
only
hopefully,
time will tell.
and hopefully by that time we do not hit the million mark of how many people lost their lives
Right.
with this horrible thing. I don't know what you want to call it, disease or virus, or I don't know what it is. It's just something.
Well,
I mean, I'm gonna share it because on Father's Day, I came down with COVID on Father's Day, and I was around my dad. I was around my mom. I got it from a friend, a friend of mine that we had hung out, and his wife got it from her sister, so his sister-in-law, and it just shows you that just being in close proximity, I mean, not even in no one's face, just talking, even 4 feet away,
right.
um, could infect you. And so I didn't even know I was infected on Father's Day. He called me that day, and on Father's Day, and he was like, "Hey, Tomar, man, hey, bro, I need to tell you something." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Hey, my wife just tested positive for COVID," and I'm like, "Oh man." He said, "Yeah, dude, she's not doing good." He said, "Yeah." He said, The reason I'm calling you is because I'm not feeling so well, bro." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, like, man, we just hung out like 3 days prior to that, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how we gonna, okay." I'm like, all right, you know, so that Sunday, I stayed away from my mom and dad. I didn't even go around them. I'm just being safe. That Wednesday, it hit me. It hit me full force. It hit me really hard. And so I'm gonna be honest with you. I know many people probably have gotten it since then, and everybody have their own symptoms and in their own stories about how it actually made them feel.
Right.
But I can honestly say I've had the flu. I've had pneumonia before in my life, and I'm an asthmatic. I was born with asthma. Scared the crap out of me because being an asthmatic, sometimes they don't really give you a fighting chance.
Right.
If your asthma is not in good standings. But me being a vegan for going on 3 years, I've been trying to eat right, but I've been eating not on a plant-based diet for 3 years, going on 3 years now. And it did not attack my lungs. So I was really fortunate. Thank God it didn't attack my lungs. But everything else it attacked. I'm talking about everything else you can name. Your memory, your your brain feels, your eyeballs feel like it's been pulled in the back of your head, the whole 9 yards. The kidneys, the kidney thing. I mean, felt like I was telling someone, it felt like someone got two baseball bats and just went on my kidneys at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It was that bad. So it attacks everybody body different. Everyone is set up different. So you can't go on, oh well, had it, so it shouldn't hit you that hard. Like, hey, there's some healthy people that look healthy that are actually perishing, that we're losing. So yeah, so I just wanted to share that, you know, with you.
4 people in my inner circle had tested positive. 3 of them in one family,
Wow.
and one of them had started out with no heart problems, and she now has a heart murmur. And her doctor said, they can't say it necessarily was the COVID, but it seems rather odd, even to
That
the doctor,
yeah, that she never had those
that
problems.
all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after having COVID, she now has a heart murmur.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
and she had a remarkably light case.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the things that they're finding, is that people with the lightest cases are sometimes now the ones that are developing the most long-term effects.
Yeah, they call those what they call them, long haulers or something like that. The
Yeah.
long haulers. Yeah,
Yep.
they actually appear to be okay
Yep.
after, I guess, getting rid of the actual virus, but then the lingering effects that it has on the organs.
Right.
It attacks the organs. It does attack the organs, and so I just tell people, man, just what I was doing prior to even catching the virus. I was doing my hot tea, which is mixed with lemon and onions and all sorts of like ginger and turmeric, and I would drink that as hot as I can stand it, even before I even caught COVID. And then I was taking all my vitamins that are in the alphabet, every single one.
Right. And
So,
they say that D is very important.
oh yeah,
Vitamin D.
I carry my vitamin D with me, like my car keys and wallet. I mean, yeah.
We're all having to learn to live different lives, that's for sure.
Yeah, and one thing about humans, we will adapt. Like that movie I was telling someone, that movie Jurassic Park, when Jeff Goldblum said, "Life finds a way." We us humans, we're gonna find a way. Oh my god.
So, Tomar, let's talk a little bit about songwriting,
Mm-hmm.
and tell me what your process is.
My process songwriting, being that I play different instruments, like say for instance, if I'm feeling something more on the rock edge or more of a cutting edge, I would normally pick my guitar up and I would normally write a song from that instrument. If I'm feeling more of a ballad tier or more of a just trying to write something that is more moderately slow, connected, I would more or less write from the piano. But then if I want something a little bit more funky or a little bit more piercing on the soul funk edge, I pick my bass guitar up and write from the bass. So,
Wow.
and that is weird because how different elements, so I can get different elements out of different instruments and it
Right.
brings different sounds out of you. Yeah.
Well, now that certainly is a nice side benefit to being a multi-instrumentalist, isn't it?
Yeah, guess so. I never thought of it that way, but I guess so. It really helps me. It helps me. I'm not sure about anybody else, but it helps me.
So, do you usually start with a melody, or do you usually start with the lyrics?
It's funny because when I normally write most of my songs is when I get off the stage. I get off the stage and my ride back home, I would turn my recorder on my phone, my voice memo, and it would start with just a melody. And I would just turn it on. I would just sing in the car. I just sing. And I have all these melodies in my head once I get off the stage. So it would start with the melody. And then once the melody is pretty much concrete, and then I may turn my phone back on again and go back to what I just recorded the night before or 2 nights before. Sometimes I wait 4 or 5 days because I want it to sound like it's brand new. And I had, at that point, I pretty much forgotten what I did. So when I listen to it, it's almost like it's still brand new. That is when I start to write the lyrics to the melody. And then sometimes it starts from the instrument. I can write a bass line and the bass line would just the bass line would tell me what the melody or what the lyrics is going to be about.
Wow.
Yeah, like Rise Above or Stone, that came from the bass, do 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 do. And I was humming that in the shower, and I jumped out of the shower and grabbed my phone, do 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 do. And then I couldn't wait to get into the studio, and I grabbed my bass and start playing on the bass. Okay, and I had an idea, but it wasn't Rise Above, Diane. It was called Pop Goes the Weasel. Because the weasel goes pop. I'm not, but if you would have heard the idea, how I lyrically finagled those words, it was pretty dope. I ain't gonna lie. It was funny as hell. It was like, I can't remember how I did it, but it was so funny as hell. Why Pop Goes the Weasel was when the weasel goes pop or something of that nature. It was crazy. It was out of control. But it went from there to Rise Above, so definitely.
And Rise Above should be an anthem today.
Well, my sister, thank you so much for saying that. I mean that because those lyrics in that particular song, oh my God, I wrote that in 2017, those lyrics.
Wow.
Yeah. And to listen to that record and listen to those lyrics, you'd have thought that I've just wrote that, like when all this hit, like, this whole insurrection and the election and the coverage of the politicians and all that stuff. No, that was in 2017. So that song is timeless. To me, it is. It's thank you, Diane.
Although I will admit, my favorite one is Innocence.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. I wrote that song on the guitar. And I got an idea when I was playing the guitar. When I was a kid, I used to love this movie, Billy Joe, the guy that jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Remember that song?
Oh,
remember that one?
Joe.
That's a dope song. As I was a kid, that song, when we would see the movie, and that the movie made an impact on me, but what really made an impact was that title track. The title track of the movie. That title track, I would leave the house, I'd be outside riding on my bike, and I just hum that song over and over and over. So the guitar line from Innocence, it's almost, I took a little piece from that song, just a tiny piece, not a big piece, where you wouldn't recognize it. I'm not trying to get sued right now, So, but just a little piece. And I actually, Billy Trouble, nothing above the Tallahatchie Bridge. Yeah, you feel me?
Yep.
Yeah. So music comes from all areas, Diane.
Oh, yes. It sure does.
Yeah.
And God bless Bobby Gentry. And so when you write, you generally write alone rather than collaborating?
Well, some songs I do write alone, but what we've been doing lately with the band, the FCs and myself, we've actually been writing together. So sometimes we'll just be in a room and someone may come up with a groove, and Andy's been writing some good stuff lately. He's been coming up with some really good stuff, Andy Timberg. And so Andy will be like, yo, I wrote this with you in mind, Tomar, so make it your own, And so I would take it and make it my own as much as I can. But we've been really experiencing writing together on some of because we've been writing quite a bit now. We've been putting a lot of songs together. We probably have about, if not 15 new songs that we actually hadn't recorded yet. So, and then I still have some stuff that I need to present to the band that I've written that they hadn't heard up until this point. But I probably have about 10 songs that I just strongly feel good about. And so writing alone and then writing together, you get different elements from, because I love what they hear. I respect what they hear, And being in a band. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. We're blessed to be together, you know, this long and to still be able to write together and love performing together. And that's the beautiful thing about it, just
right.
performing, yeah,
And the
together.
FCs were actually an instrumental band on their own before
Mhm.
it became Tomar and the FCs.
Yeah, they actually were they were kind of from Iowa. The guys came in from Iowa and they moved to Austin. I think Paul Kreswick, drummer, he was the first one out of the group that came here to Austin, and then David Earl and then Mitch Fischels followed him to Austin. And those two guys, David Earl and Mitch Fischels, are no longer in the band,
Right.
but their presence is still felt because you know they are a major part of what the FC's, Tomar FC stands for. And so we have two new guys by the name of Eric Baker, which is on keys, and then Chris Alexander, you know, on bass. And but they are stepping in. I mean, so awesome with their contribution to what the band, and they're adding their own feel and twist to what they actually bring to the actual Tomar and the FCs. And that's what it's all about. You don't want to have someone come in and sound just like the next guy, but don't lose the energy, but just
Right.
bring yourself, bring a part of yourself. And that's exactly what they've done. They've actually brought themselves, and which is a treat. I love, and I played with so many different musicians in Austin growing up in the city. I mean, with Martha Milligan, I was a keyboard player in his band. I played with Yogi Musgrove. I played with so many guys in this city,
Mhm.
and not just with my brothers. And so when I noticed when I play with different, you know, musicians outside of my normal circle, it brings a different part out of you that you didn't realize that you had in you. So that's a good thing.
Right. And you were in Funky London with Malford, weren't you?
Yeah, me and Malford.
Mhm.
Yeah, Funky Love. Oh my God, that was fun, man. I learned so much from Malcolm Milligan. That's my big brother. I love him to death. We
I
still
was his
stay in
booking
contact.
agent for quite a while.
Say it again.
I was his booking agent for quite a while.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when I
I
had my
didn't even
booking
know.
agency open, Malford was one of the people that I represented.
Well, I didn't even know that. That's awesome. Yeah, Malford. I got a call from Yogi and Musgrove, bass guitar player. You know, he's amazing. And he called me. He was like, "Hey, man, you want to join a band with Malcolm Milligan from the Storyville?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. What's going on?" And we got Phil Redmond on keys.
Yep.
We had Al Garcia on guitar and Brian Mendez, crazy comedic Brian Mendez.
Uh-huh.
He wasn't as funny as he is now. Brian was he was like straightforward. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say nerd, but he was just like he wasn't the Brian that he is now. Brian is a damn fool now. Brian Mendez is a damn nut. He's fool. I love him to death, man. That's my brother.
Well, David Malford used to play over at Wiley's.
Hmm.
So sometimes what we would do is we'd go down the street to see Sweet Daddy Red.
Yeah, Charlie Red.
Red and oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
the whole the whole lineup. The Sweet Daddy Red was the thing. I met Charlie back when I think I was 14 years old when I met Charlie. Charlie Red was like 16 or 17 years old when I first met him. And it wasn't in Austin. He came to Victoria and we had mutual friends and he walked into the garage and he played some of his songs that he actually recorded on a 4-track. And my brothers and I, we were like, man, this dude is like Prince. He played every damn thing. So
Yep.
that really inspired us to not just played it, he played it well. You know what I'm saying? And so we kept asking, like, dude, so you played every instrument? Like, how did you do that? He said, yeah, well, it's a 4-track. He would show us how he would do it.
Mhm.
That blew our minds. I mean, like you're talking like 1982, 83. We're like, like, dude, you can actually record a song by yourself.
Right.
But it was really cool. Yeah, it was crazy. So Sweet Daddy Red, you brought memories, man.
Yeah. That those were good days because things were really popping over at Steamboat and Wiley's was happening a couple nights a week, and then you could go down and hear Sweet Daddy Red, and you could go up to the Black Cat and catch Two Hoots and a Holler, or
My God, Toots and a Holler,
like
yeah.
Ian Moore would be over at Steamboat. Well, Two Hoots and a Holler were down at Black Cat. Well, Malford was at Wiley's. Well, Charlie
Yeah.
Red was down the street. It was a wild time.
It was a crazy time. It was a beautiful time. I mean, the music
Yes.
was so therapeutic and vibrant at that
Yeah.
time. And that is what I call Austin.
And
I
there
mean,
was
I'm
a
not
lot
saying
of
Austin is,
cross-pollination too.
say it again.
There was a lot of cross-pollination.
It really was. It
Like
really
all
was.
of the musicians really supported each other. And when they'd go on break, they'd go down the street to somebody else's gig for a while.
You know, that is so true because one day we were in the studio at the Fire Station Studios in San Marcos. We were recording a record out of there. And while we were there, we were in the cutting room, my brothers and I, and all of a sudden the engineer said, "Hey, hold on, guys, for a second." And we seen a bunch of guys walk into the actual, control room, and the guy was like, the engineer was like, "Yo, you guys, come out here real quick, come on." So we walked inside the control room, and it was the Fabulous T-Birds, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Jimmy Vaughn, all those guys, and we were like, "Whoa, like this is crazy," And so they asked us, like, "So, where you guys play? What do you guys play?" And we mentioned, and this is like 1986 or something, 87. We were like, "Well, we normally play like at Steamboats," we named it. And they said, "We'll come check you guys out." And sure enough, they came out. They only stayed for like one or two songs, but they came out to Steamboats, walked in right in the front of the stage, almost had a freaking heart attack when they did, but like, but they listened about two songs and they put their hands up like this and they walked out. We were like, man, that was amazing. So that does ring a lot of truth what you said. We did support one another back then.
Right.
Even the little guys being supported by the big guys,
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, that was not that uncommon back then.
Yeah, it wasn't uncommon. Yeah.
It really helped that there were so many venues so concentrated in the 6th Street area that were all doing original live music.
That was so true. That was so much needed back then.
Yeah.
Because we were always seemed to be overlooked by Nashville and all the other places that were doing music. But you know what? At that time, we really didn't care.
No, it was actually for the better. If the
It was
business
for
had
the
been too
better.
much involved, it would have really changed the whole atmosphere.
Exactly. And we didn't care. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when my brothers and I played the very first South by Southwest in 1987, you didn't have to be an official artist back then. You just basically would just be asked to play and you just show up and play, man. And that's a beautiful thing, like a great thing. I talked to Lewis Black about that and at his house about 2 years ago. And I was asking him, I said, my brothers and I, we were having a conversation about South by Southwest back then when you guys started it back up. Started it back then. Did y'all just only want local bands from Texas to be a part of that? Was it just for the bands in Texas to have a national, international look? And he said, no, Tomar. He was like, no, that was a misconception. He said, no, we opened it up for everyone, but the only people that really gravitated to it back then were the Texas bands.
Right.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it took the Texas bands to bring the attention to South by Southwest.
Yeah, it really did.
Without the caliber of talent that we have in Austin,
that's true.
South by might not have ever really been South by.
That's right. That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. Yeah. And a lot of the record labels would send their R&R people down to Austin and they wouldn't even come to our shows. But they wouldn't even come to the shows, Diane. They would, how I know, because they would end up other places that I don't want to mention.
An unlimited expense account too.
Yeah, they would not spend it at the clubs. I know, not the music clubs.
Oh yeah, I know.
It'd be the other clubs.
The Yellow Rose did.
Yeah, yeah. They would not even come to the shows, and oh my God, yeah, it's funny, it's so sad. So they never even. crossed our paths back then. They didn't even give a darn about us. Yeah.
So, Tomar, growing up outside of your family, who were your biggest influences?
Oh my God, my biggest influence, growing up first and foremost. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but Michael Jackson and the Jackson Fives, because they were the closest thing that we could actually mimic ourselves after. My brothers and I, and so the Jacksons and the Jackson Fives, Michael Jackson, and then Prince,
Mhm.
being such an amazing songwriter. And so Prince, Michael Jackson, and then growing up listening to a lot of Otis, a lot of Jackie Wilson. My mom was a huge Jackie Wilson fan.
Uh-huh.
Jackie is my favorite out of that little circle of people. Jackie is my favorite. Mr. Excitement. I mean, the guy
He
is
was the consummate performer.
amazing. So Jackie Wilson was the guy. And but to name a few, Curtis Mayfield, when the Superfly soundtrack came out back in the 70s, and we went to the drive-in and we saw it at the drive-in. Yeah, we had to turn our heads on the nudie part and stuff like that, But you're trying to control, 6 or 7 children at that time, it's like impossible. Man, turn your heads, huh? But it was a great movie. But what really inspired me was the soundtrack. As a kid, I noticed the soundtrack. So Curtis Mayfield, oh my God, the guy is such an amazing, amazing, amazing composer. He's not just a musician; he's a composer. The guy is like, yeah, amazing. So those are my few there.
And that's funny because as soon as you started talking about influences, all of a sudden Freddie's Dead is just screaming in my head. I'm hearing
Oh,
Freddie's Dead.
Diane, I listened to that this morning. I listened to Curtis Mayfield for the past 2 weeks, and that song "Freddie's Dead," amazing. That's an amazing, amazing composition right there.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I have a
Such
lot of
a
memories attached to that song too, because I remember being in college and I had a 1957 Cadillac uh, uh, ambulance. And this was in rural upstate New York. And
oh my
I used
God.
to have to check tonnage on bridges because we would have some 1-ton bridges. And I
Yeah.
couldn't drive the ambulance across the 1-ton bridge. And
So
I
you had an ambulance.
it
Oh my God.
yeah, a 1957 Cadillac Superior.
That is amazing.
Yep, I bought it from our local fire department.
Jesus.
They'd
I
had
mean, like,
they'd had it for like, 20 years and it was going out of service. And so they sold it to me for $150. And I
wow.
drove it for 3 years until finally it was, pretty much undrivable.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine actually bought it from me because he had a 1958 Cadillac limousine and he couldn't
Wow.
find parts for it. So he bought my 57 ambulance
To
to
take the part.
exactly to take it for parts for his limousine.
That is smart. That's smart as hell. That is smart.
And so
Uh,
Freddie's Dead was one of those songs that used to play on an 8-track. And,
oh my
and
God.
of course, the ambulance didn't have any of that stuff in it. So I had
Yeah.
this boom box that was also fitted, for an 8-track that I
With
could play.
that go on the side, right?
Yes.
With the single
And
speaker that goes on the side.
it would lay on it was a bench seat across. And so it would lay on the bench seat and I could,
Oh yeah.
that and the Carpenters. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Carpenters were killing it back then. They were killing it back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. They were. They were. Man, the Carpenters. Yeah, you bring back some really good memories. Yeah, the '70s were some good music that came out in the '70s. Some amazing music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's been good music every generation.
Oh
And
yeah.
but there are certain songs that will like stick with you no matter what. What is
You
the
know.
one song you wish you had written?
Oh That is an amazing, amazing question right there. That is an amazing question. I never been asked that before. The one song that I wish that I had written, you know, there's this song. It's by the Jacksons. It's called Destiny, and it was their title track of the album Destiny, but it wasn't one of their big lead off hits that just sort of took the Jacksons, you know, to another. Well, they were already at another level, but I'm saying it wasn't the lead off. But that particular song, Destiny, oh my God, yeah, you need to pull it up when we get off
Okay.
this here. And it's an amazing song. Michael Jackson and the Jacksons.
Because I
They
don't
actually,
remember that song in particular. So I
yeah,
definitely listen to it.
it's a beautiful song. It's well written. It has so many different elements in one song. I
Uh-huh.
mean, it's quiet, then it gets here, then it goes there, then all of a sudden it gets angry, then it goes. It's like and the lyrics that Michael wrote were just, oh my God, yeah, the lyrics are amazing,
Okay.
amazing. It
Cool.
starts out with an acoustic guitar, but it does not end like that. Trust me, you're gonna be surprised. Like,
Okay.
wow, yeah, it's crazy.
And I know that for every songwriter, their songs are like children, but I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Which of your own songs is your favorite?
My favorite song. Oh my God, I've written so many songs since I was a kid. Uh, that is a really good question. You put me on the spot, Diane. Oh my God. Uh, you know, I'm not sure if I can answer that
Okay.
because I've written songs when I was a kid, back when I was 16, 17. This is one song, it's probably one of my favorites. It's called Suck It Into My Values. I wrote that and we performed that at Liberty Lunch too. I wrote that back when I was probably about 16, 17 years old. And it's talking about, a young lady being sucked into everything that I actually own without loving me for my heart. She's loving for all the things that I do have and I can offer. So it's called Sucking Into My Values. But the lyrics and the music was amazing. It was like, yeah, how we put it together, my brothers and I, how we put it together. But yeah, that might be one of my favorite songs.
You might need to bring that one back.
In fact, I'm gonna say this here. My brothers and I, we were flirting with it about during the Thanksgiving holiday.
Uh-huh.
Ashek and I, we were flirting with it just a little bit, and we just freaked out. And we videotaped what we were flirting with, and the song is still there. It's still there, man. So what we're talking about doing is, my brothers and I, we're gonna do probably a couple of songs, and we're gonna, because we owe it to my mom and dad. They want to see us put out a project with their sons, and my dad keep asking us, and my mom keep asking us, and they want to see that happen. So while they're still with us, and it's a blessing that they're still with us, we owe it to them, and so we are going to do that. So sucking it to my.
Will Isaac get a guest spot on saxophone somewhere?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He won't have it no other way. Not us, but he won't. Oh yeah, he won't have no other way. I'm gonna tell you, that guy has not skipped a beat. That guy is going hard. He inspires me to be at that age and still be excited about playing music.
Right.
So him and I, we still jam together. We still get a chance to jam out a little bit there. But
that's awesome.
Oh man, he is such a character. He is so funny, I tell you.
So, Tomar, we're kind of almost at the hour mark.
Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
But I did want to ask you, which I apologize, I did not ask you before we went live, but where should people send donations or tips if they want to?
Well, I'm not sure if we're set up right now if they want to send tips, but they can send tips whenever we do live streams. That's when we normally get the tips that come in. But as far as now, I don't think we have anything that just set up to just where if you wanted to send tips. If you want to look for it, it might be on Tomar and the FCs. We might be in Vimeo, which we are in Vimeo. If you want to send tips to Tomar and the FCs and Vimeo, I think we are on there. Yeah, we should be, because when we do live streams, that's how they would normally tip.
Okay.
Or even Cash App us with some of that nature, because when we did the last stream, yeah, there are people that do send tips into the actual tip.
And
but
so would that be on your Facebook page or just on or on the website, or?
That is a really good question, because I really didn't get into the setting up the tips, Diane. I don't do the administrative part of the website. And hey, serious. I got a kid in college and I got one in junior high. Boy, I'm telling you, it's like I'm so discombobulated right now trying to run both situations and stuff. So, but no, they might can look on that. It might be set up. They might be set up. If they sent it to the wrong person, maybe that person probably needed it more than we did. So,
well, you know what? This is just proof that you're in the business for the right reasons.
You said it. You're right. You're
not a funny man.
Yeah. I mean, it comes to the money part whenever we do like shows and we're like the licensee things. We license certain music and of that nature. But like tips and stuff, I really don't follow the tips. You know, not as hard as maybe I should. I don't know.
Well, and y'all certainly can go and buy Tomar and the FC's CDs, and you'll be thrilled with what you'll find on there. I know that.
Well, thank you so much. And I would like to say we do have a show coming up. It's going to be at the White Horse. It's going to be on the 20th of this month. Okay. And they will be practicing social distancing. So we've actually done it twice before. And it's been pretty tame. I mean, normally the White Horse is not tame. I mean, it's not crazy wild, but I'm saying normally it's like crazy packed and people are like bumping into one another and dancing. But they've done a really good job of keeping people safe and feeling safe when you walk in. And so we'll be there on the 20th, and I think we may have the midnight slot, I think. Or we may have the 11 o'clock slot, some of that nature. But just look, I guess we'll post it when it gets closer to see what slot we're playing. But that'll be February the 20th at the White Horse.
Okay. Well, I wish I could be there. Unfortunately, I can't, because I've got issues to be able to. But I'm just waiting for you to be able to come back to the Continental Club and see boys. So I'm just gonna have to.
Oh my God, I'm waiting too. I'm waiting too. Sea Boys, Continental Club, those places there, yeah. They're like drugs. It's like you need that stuff. You need it, you know. So definitely, you know. So looking forward to seeing you guys and my extended family.
Well, we sure love y'all. That's for sure. And
we love you too, Diane.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And this has been big fun for me. I hope everybody else enjoys it half as much as I did. I'm sure Barbara did.
Oh no, Barbara is she's a champ. Barbara's an awesome person. Thank you, Barbara, for joining us on the little laughter thing that we had before this one. So it was cool. She's awesome.
Well, take care of yourself, Tomar, and keep on keeping on.
I like that. And you too, Diane. And I love you, and we love you, okay?
Okay. Thanks, y'all, for joining us.
See you soon.
And I will be back next week with somebody. I don't remember who it is.
But that's good. That's good. It'll be a surprise. That's good.
Oh man, it's always a surprise. Oh, on the 17th, I've got Tamika. Oh, next week is going to be Jeremy Slamenda and Cella Blue from uh, White Ghost Shivers.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
on the 17th is going to be Tamika Jones. And on the 24th is going to be Bonnie Whitmore.
Wow.
So we've got a good month.
Nice. Got a nice lineup there. I love that.
Indeed. Me too.
Please tell them I said hello, and I mean
that. I will do that.
Okay, Dianne, love you.
Thanks, y'all, for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.